Charlotte is going to remain on stage, and I'll invite the other group, Renee, Maxine, Rachel, and Anton, if you'd like to come and join us on stage, please. Put your hands together, please. Nurturing people, pastoral support for RSE workers.
Welcome everyone to our next employer panel session. This is called Nurturing People, Pastoral Support for RSE Workers. I'm just going to give a very quick session intro and then I'm going to hand over to our lovely panellists and they can introduce themselves and then we'll jump into some questions. Pastoral care for workers is a holistic support system that starts from the recruitment and selection process to arriving in New Zealand and supporting the worker throughout their seasonal employment through to when the worker reunites with their family and community at home. The wellbeing of RSE workers extends far beyond their physical health to encompass emotional, cultural and spiritual wellbeing and a sense of purpose, safety and belonging. Worker wellbeing is also directly tied to being treated with respect and dignity. So in this panel we're going to delve into the multifaceted role of pastoral support, emphasising its importance in fostering a supportive and inclusive environment for RSE workers that prioritises their health and wellbeing. So to begin, I'll just ask my panellists to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Renee Utham. I work for Sunfruit Limited as their RSE manager. I've been working there since 2019 as it is a family-run company, and formerly prior to that I have 20 years experience as a registered nurse.
Hi, I'm ko Rachel, tōku ingoa. I'm from DMS Pro Growers. We do kiwi fruit and avocados in the Bay of Plenty. And yeah, I started in 2019 as well, so yay COVID. And yeah, we'll talk a bit later. Oh.
Hi everyone, my name is Maxine Durant. I work for Birdhurst in Motueka in the South Island. I've been employed there for 10 years doing pastoral care.
G'day, Anton Stanichenko, Craigie Range Vineyards in Martinborough. We have 250 hectares of grapevines down there, and come mid-October, 48 of our own RSEs.
So Rachel, I'm going to start with you. Providing pastoral support for workers is mandatory under the policy settings, and the level of support provided is high. It's a 24/7 commitment, and it's quite unique when compared to the general workplace support that you need to provide to your others, Kiwis or other non-RSEs. So can you tell us a bit about DMS's pastoral care model and how it contributes to the overall wellbeing of your workers?
Sure. It is a very big commitment, and I guess taking on Dr. Elise's comments yesterday, that and some of the other participants today, but certainly from a pastoral care perspective, it's more than just your pastoral carers. And so just to give you some context on DMS, we started with the program in, I think, 2007, 2008, right from the start anyway. Had just 2 nationalities, so Vanuatu, and we've got a very small team of our Indonesian folk. So we started off with that. We're now at 220 RSEs. We've got 2 pack houses, purpose-built accommodations, so they're split about half-half across both sides. And one of our sides has all Vanuatus, one side has 5 different nationalities, and so taking on my praise to us all for starting to bring in some of the smaller Pacific islands. We have now got PNG, Fiji, Samoa, Tuvalu, and our Indonesian team all on one side. To answer the pastoral care question, our RSE team is small but mighty. We've got Jackie Ellingham, who's our RSE manager, and then only 1.5 FTE of pastoral carers. But it extends well beyond that, and our two pastoral carers are incredibly dedicated, incredibly flexible around life. One is a ex-nurse, so that helps us with triaging sicknesses and injuries and things like that. Not as much time spent at A&E, which is very, very helpful. She's soon to retire, so dreading the day that we have to replace her, but has been amazing with us. But they look after all of the day-to-day kind of needs, starting from recruitment. We talk a lot about integration into New Zealand with the team, even at a recruitment setting, and then once they arrive, do a whole heap of integration. The pastoral carers take them for driving lessons, making sure that the pastoral carer themselves is comfortable, that they're safe on the roads. Some of those sorts of things, shows them where the local churches are, shopping, all of that sort of stuff. On top of that, I guess we have our operational teams that also play a very important part in the pastoral care model. We have staffing coordinators at each of our pack houses who look after, I guess, the pastoral care needs of all of our teams, including the RSEs, but it extends to all of our employees. And also our supervisors, and then our HR team, HR manager, HR advisors on the sites as well. And I guess I can't ask any more of our people at DMS. They're just amazing. I get emotional sometimes when I talk about them, because their dedication to not just DMS but our RSE teams. I mean, for example, we've got a Rāwhakanui coming up, which is our kind of end of season celebration with all of our RSE teams, and we have 200 odd people that come to that to celebrate. And that, I guess, bringing it into the pastoral care model, that's a real celebration of all of the cultures. So we actually this year are having it on a marae, so it brings in the Māori culture and helps our Pacific Island teams kind of get cultural integration as well, but they each get to have their speech, their song, their waiata, their performance at that event as well, and it is goosebump kind of generating. It's amazing. So we've got our DMS teams. On top of that, we rely a lot on our community teams for pastoral care as well. So we're connected in with the local Pacific Community Trust. We get police to come and visit, fisheries to come and visit to tell them where, when, how they can fish. We have the fire services come to visit us. Who else do we get? The country liaison officers. So we do tap into so many different things, which helps us, I guess, from a direct RSE team be lean, but we've got so much connection and so much support around us, which is how we can look after their full well-being.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Rachel. Renee's got a horrible cough, so are you okay? Yep. I have a question for Renee. You're good? Okay. Sunfruit has been involved in RSE since the beginning. Can you tell us what lessons you or your company have learned about providing pastoral care over time? Some of the successes, challenges, lessons learned.
Sure. Oh, there's plenty of lessons. So I guess one thing over the time that we have learnt is having your workers well prepared before they even leave the islands, even in terms of pastoral care. So I will go over about once a year. We only have Samoans, and we're looking at inductions around everything to do with the life that they're going to be having in New Zealand for the time that they're there. So when I go over there, we talk about their banking, how to use an FPOS card, the safety of PayWave. I hate PayWave. If a worker loses their card, someone picks it up on the street and it's got PayWave, money's gone. So just the safety around PayWave and having cards that have PayWave on them. Scams is another thing that's right up there. Text messages from scam numbers saying, reply to this number if it's you. And they go, oh, yep. No. Site inductions, and as touched on earlier, how to use the appliances. So we go through all of that before arrival and on arrival. So Our workers are aware of some things. As Rachel touched on, emergency services. If you need emergency services, do the workers know the address where they're staying? So we printed out, each site has printed out the actual address, because the first thing the emergency services is going to ask you is what's your address? And the workers need to know where emergency services can find them. So that's a bit about like something that we learnt about the inductions and having workers, trying to have the workers a bit prepared for coming over, and makes them a bit more comfortable. Some challenges, there's challenges with lots of things, and I try not to focus on challenges, but we need to be aware of them. So one of the ones that I had noted down here that I've had talks with my groups over the years is healthy food choices and healthy eating. So we're talking about, I was experiencing some workers back in the day having 3 lots of chicken and chips a day. And then for breakfast the next morning it was chicken and chips. So talking about food for fuel as well. So you need your food to be your fuel for the day. If you're having good food, you're more productive for longer. So we had a big chat to our workers with that. We did a healthy food focus board. And the Heart Foundation has a lot of resources in many different languages as to what healthy food looks like. And they're free to download from the Heart Foundation website. I'm not from there. It's just a resource that I've found. Another, which goes on from that one, another issue that we have dealt with is undiagnosed health issues that workers can present with. And one of them is diabetes. Workers coming over, they don't know that they've got diabetes. They get here, start working, and then their feet get sore, and then you realise that they've actually got a foot ulcer or a diabetic ulcer on their foot from undiagnosed diabetes. So again, it ties into that healthy eating and a model around how we do that. Sorry, I am reading off here.
Go for it.
So part of that is also knowing what resources are available for the workers and what resources are there to back up our pastoral care support workers. So there's Pacific health teams at the hospitals. We've got, as Rachel said, the police Pacific liaison teams. They come out and talk to our workers. And there is also, in some areas, I know last year through Te Whata Ora at Hastings, we had smoking cessation, which also ties in again with your foot ulcers, your diabetes. And then you also, I'm sure you've all had experiences with workers with boils. Again, that ties into your healthy eating, smoking cessation, healthy living, reduces all of that. So we do provide some information for that. Success of our workers, I always like our workers to have a goal. And some of them tell us, some of them don't, and it's fine, it's up to them. So I asked one of our workers, I said, what does the RSE mean for you and your family? And he said, it's everything. He said, it is a lunchbox for my daughter to take her lunch to school in. It's shoes for her feet. It's her school bag, a car for the family, home improvements. Some have started businesses. So for some of these workers, this is everything for them, and it is great to see. And I'll finish on my favourite saying, and this might put your brain into a little bit of action. Expect the unexpected, then expect that to change.
Thanks, Renee. I did want to ask you, I'm sorry, I'm going to slightly put you on the spot, just about as you are a registered nurse, just sort of any comments on the benefits of that for the role that you do. Presumably you can triage things.
Oh, yeah, so having had my 20-year experience as a registered nurse, I've got 3.5 years of that was mental health nursing, and then the rest of that was general surgical nursing in mostly private hospital, but also in public hospital as well. So with treating boils, I guess being able to pick them up early. So another thing we tell all of our workers is if you notice a small sore red patch on your skin anywhere, tell me straight away. I can get you to the doctor, we can get some antibiotics. Boils can flare up from nothing to a massive thing in the matter of a day. So that's one thing that's probably quite handy to have in the background, is kind of knowing when to get someone to the doctor and when to get them early.
And as a mental health nurse as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was a long time. That was in 2005 that I was a mental health nurse. But I did do 3.5 years, so
Yeah, you pick up on things.
yeah.
Which is
Yeah, and if someone's feeling a bit homesick and a bit withdrawn, then I might mention to my evening pastoral carer who goes in from 5 till 7, and he can extend longer if someone needs to go to the doctor. If we feel someone's a bit withdrawn or a bit homesick, then he can sit down and have a chat to them as well in the evenings after hours.
great. Thanks, Renee. Max, now to you. Managing worker behaviour can be a bit of a challenge for employers, and this can especially be the case for employers who recruit from multiple countries. Can you share with us just some of the things you've learned over the years when providing support to RSE workers from different countries?
Yeah, we've learnt a lot. So talking about providing pastoral care, it's after doing it for so long, I've found that it's all about people, and people are never one size fits all. I'm going to read off my paper because I'm not a public speaker, so when things go well, it's really easy, but when things don't, that's when all the lessons get learnt. So within our company, some of the more unpleasant situations we've had to manage have been around police, the New Zealand courts, and even an RSE worker going to prison. Serious medical events are the ones that really shake me more than anything. I've got this story to tell. I'll try and bang it down as shortly as I can. But I think it sat with me more so about him because he was so young. He was 19, and he had he had received the Samoan quota, and he had asked one of my colleagues if he was able to go home, if he could resign and go home. And that was fine, yes, absolutely. And so the night before his flight, the day before his flight, he collapsed in a van. We got him to hospital, and they went through a barrage of things. So this is in the middle of COVID. They ran the COVID test, wasn't COVID, meningitis, all these things. Anyway, they came back, and this young man had a rare brain aneurysm. I was asked to get in touch with his family because the chances of him living were not great. So moving on from there, I was told on top of that he will be on a flight within the next hour and a half to 2 hours. He'll be on a helicopter, flown to Wellington. If he makes it through that surgery, it's going to be a long road for him. So breaking this all down, we had to deal. I mean, he's not on my books anymore. He has, but to me, he was. No matter what, I was going to make sure I got him home if he lives through this. So the things I had to deal with were 5 different hospitals. The best place for him was with extended family in Auckland, not in the Nelson district with me. He had the operation. He's very much alive and well. After he finished with the Wellington Hospital, he went to extended family in Auckland. He had to deal with Middlemore Hospital and Auckland Hospital. Up there, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. It was a nightmare. And I'm the one who was his person, who was to deal with all these situations for him. I decided to cut those 2 hospitals. We couldn't do that. Some of the situations I had to deal with were organising another visa for him. This was 2.5 years ago, so it was really nice to hear that from immigration this morning that they're looking at this when things need to be extended for them, because that was not the case when this happened for Filippo. Where was I? So, yes, I kept him on his work visa until the end of that, which was only like 4 weeks. In that 4 weeks, I needed to find another visa to put him on while he was going to be here. Getting his mum here from Samoa, getting his partner here from Samoa to do shared care between him with the extended family in Auckland. All these organisations needing to organise him around those. He ended up being here for an extra 6 months on a medical visa, but no money coming in. I'd love someone to have a look at that for them.
I'll just say, Max, that we're actually going through that at the moment with one of our workers right now.
Yeah,
He's on an extended visa up in hospital in Waikato. So
it's tough. Yeah. So, saying all of that, our RSE leave their homes to come here. They come away from their families, they come away from their communities for 7 months. And yes, I understand it's a win-win for everybody, but also it's the employers who bring them here. So, in my view, it's the employers who have the responsibility to look after them until you get them good and get them home, back to where they come from. Some of the strategies we use are pretty simple. Finding out as much as you can about them. Having a simple form when they come in and getting them to fill it out told me where his mum was, where his partner was, giving me their phone numbers. They were the first people I got in touch with that night. I went straight back to find that piece of paper. That's where I had all the information. Finding out as much as you can about your RSE, just what I said, cultural inductions that are specific to each country and group, really important. Not just a generic presentation every time they come in. It means nothing to them if it doesn't make sense. Appointing strong leaders. So the messages are delivered and understood in the right way. And making time for wellbeing is everything. It's really important, whether it's about sports, getting them to church, having cultural celebrations, group barbecues. For me, at the end of the day, it's about building trust. If workers know that you care and they're not just there to go to work on a frosty morning at 6 o'clock to pick fruit for you, where was I? But you're also there when life chucks a crisis at them. It makes all the difference. Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to that, Max, to something else. Just a big part of, just as for everyone out there, a big part of caring for others is looking after yourselves as well. So make sure that that you're taking breaks, that you're keeping up with your own health as well, 'cause to look after others is taxing.
Yeah, very, very good point. Thanks, Renee. Anton, for new RSE recruits leaving their families for the first time, the transition to New Zealand work and life can be difficult. What strategies has your company put in place to address those issues and help to build trust and confidence with your workers and support them both on and off the job?
So actually I probably echo a lot of what I've just heard, but the first one I was going to start with is it all starts at recruitment. We've been really lucky. We're relatively new to RSE, so I think this is our 5th year now, and our numbers have slowly been building. But we've been able to jump on some good recruiting done with our joint ATR partners, so that's been really valuable. And luckily enough, we've also had a Vanuatuan agent now that used to work in our vineyards as a contractor, so they all understand what it's required mentally physically, and I suppose the sacrifice to come to New Zealand to be able to work in our vineyards. So I suppose at a crux of that is we want to make sure that both parties are the right fit, are people that are mentally and physically capable coming to New Zealand and are any of them hopefully not slipping through the process. So I find that really important. What dovetails into that, I think, is our retention rate. New RSEs are important, but I also think retaining and having reoccurring RSEs coming back is actually really important for providing support for the new RSEs, but they also just know what they're coming into year after year. So those two are probably like really important. The other 3 or 4 I've got here that been touched on a lot is it doesn't just fall on pastoral support, I suppose. We're a relatively small RSE community in the Wairarapa, so we've actually reached out quite a bit to the local Pacifica Trust. They've been really supportive, and they have a really good ability just to connect with the RSEs on a different level that I can't at Craigierange, or our pastoral support at Craigierange can't. Again, just dovetailing that into our daily, weekly, monthly processes. With that brings a lot of access to health initiatives, flu jabs, vaccinations, all those sorts of things that I might not necessarily think about, but it's at the front of mind for the Pacifica community, and all those things that you don't quite think about but come from the outside. Definitely a lot of encouragement to do things outside of work. I think if I put my foot in the other shoe on the other foot, if I'd come to a foreign country and come to work hard for 7 months, I'd also like to enjoy my time off work. The boys love fishing, so fishing is non-negotiable. Not only is it fun, but it provides them food. So 2 birds with 1 stone there. Local community church groups already talked about. Facilitating shopping trips to the zoo, sports games, local. We've been to the stadium a couple of times as well. Te papa, all those sorts of things that you just don't get back in the islands. Cultural gatherings, celebrating the Independence Days, all those sorts of get-togethers. The other probably major one here is, in terms of pastoral care, prompt and wraparound care. And we're lucky enough to have a dedicated pastoral care coordinator, and she does a great job, but it's not just her. There's so many people that have touch points on the pastoral care of these RSEs that it sometimes creates some sort of cloudy lines between work and pastoral care, and we're aware of that, but at least there's no gaps, so things aren't slipping through the holes. Things like WhatsApp groups, sometimes, yes, you're muting a lot of stuff in there, but also at least you're seeing and hearing it as well. That pastoral care, so I think when we first were looking for that person, we wanted a mum, and that's definitely what she is to these RSEs. And the boys, I call them the boys, and that's a term of endearment. They really trust her, and trust is a big part of what we do at home, but also that just, I think, at home it creates a lot of trust at work as well, especially seeing familiar faces. So yeah, they're probably, the other one I had here was just not rushing them to work. Again, putting the shoe on the other foot, is if you've had a long day of travel, possibly 2 days travel just to get to Martinborough, is they want the Wi-Fi code, they want to call home, they want to feed, they want their Prezi card, so they feel like they've got some money and they can go shopping if they wanted to the local shop, and they just want to sleep. So we let that happen for sort of 24, 48 hours, and then we don't even talk about business before then. It's really just trying to make them feel like they're either home again or settling into their new home for the next few months. So yeah, I find all of those things really important.
Great. Thanks, Anton. We've got time just for a couple more questions, so I'm just going to open it. I've got a couple of general questions here for any of you to answer. When thinking about the pastoral support role, and what training or what additional support would be helpful for you guys? as employers and pastoral carers, is there any additional support that might be helpful for you to do your job?
From a training perspective, I think the people are our biggest training ground. And we've always been curious, I guess, when it was only the two nationalities, but having more, I guess, that could have created some challenges because there's now 5 different nationalities living under the one roof. And so we were very conscious of that. And at the same time, and I know most of us wouldn't have gotten to go to Monty Hogg's Safety 2 or Learning Teams kind of session yesterday because we were in the employer forum. But we were part of that pilot, and so we got some cultural training through that, and then engaged with our, in particular, Vanuatu team. But it's just having that curious mind and asking them. I think your comment was they're all individuals, so even though they might even come from the same nationality, they're still different. And so they're our biggest training ground. Yes, you have the Centre of Pacific Languages kind of tools available to us, which is helpful. They've got some really good education and training modules if you haven't kind of jumped on. And especially for us as we learned new cultures, that was just a really good basis. But just being curious, asking them what they need, what they want. In particular, our pastoral carer who works with the 5 different nationalities, she meets with the team leaders, and we have both men and women team leaders so that all workers are represented. But she meets with them weekly to try and share concerns among the team leaders and come up with I guess almost a collaborative culture, so that everybody's sensitive and respectful. I mean, it's manaakitanga, caring for people with dignity and respect, and so honouring, being respectful of each other, and she does that remarkably well with her weekly meetings with the team leaders as well. But curious.
Yeah, great.
A couple of things I had here was just networking and information sharing for pastoral care, some sort of facilitation for that, and things like this are amazing, but not everybody can always come as well, so networking, information sharing, and somebody said before, what does good look like? I think a pastoral care 101, something like that could just be spread to the masses. That's not the Bible, but at least it's a starting point of the minimum we should be doing.
A guideline?
A guideline.
Yeah. Do you want to say any more on that?
No.
Just a guideline.
Just a guideline. And never assume.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, my final question is just, we've got 2 minutes to go, and then everyone will be very ready for lunch. But the last thing is just whether you have any advice for anybody new that's starting out in RSE in terms of providing pastoral care. Any final thoughts?
For me, it's about, if you're taking on new RSE, please don't, please try and get the best insurance you possibly can. That event with that young man was $120,000. And I've dealt with, way back in the day, a fit to fly $5,000 cover. That means you're sending that boy home once he's up and walking to God knows what. You're not fixing him. So please make sure that you get the best insurance you possibly can. I know we would like to save the money, but that's not where you save the money. And the other thing I wanted to say was just be culturally aware of who you're bringing in, and get in touch with the liaison officers for that country and find out about them. Yeah.
Great.
Another couple of things, sorry.
Yeah, go, great.
Just don't underestimate how much time and effort your pastoral care will take. It is, as I said, wraparound. It's 24/7. Everybody's on call. And also just how important your team leaders are for pastoral care as well. I think that was already mentioned.
Great, great. Well, thanks everybody. I think we have 42 seconds, so we are going to wrap up and, yeah, let everybody get some lunch. So thanks very much. That was great.